There's no gym teacher in this school, but that hasn't stopped some shameless individual from putting physical education on our schedule. A healthy spirit dwells in a healthy body. It's easy to laugh these words off as a relic of the baby boomer generation's Neanderthal obsession with building character through guts and willpower, but in fact, it seems like there actually is a good amount of scientific data linking moderate physical exercise to positive psychotropic effects. Personally, having been brought up with the simplistic lesson that basic physical strength decides things in the end, I don't have any objection to moving my body. That said,
おっしゃーしまっていこう
Amane's pointlessly powerful voice resonates across the field. In response, there's a vaguely apathetic chorus of, yeah, from her classmates. An unenthusiastic, yeah, from the transparently disinterested Michiru. A dopey, yus, from Makina, unintentionally draining any shred of motivation from all who hear it. A vigorous, yeah, from Sachi, who's taking everything seriously as always, but her voice cracks shrilly at the clearly unfamiliar exercise. And finally, stony silence from Sakaki, who's sulking like a prideful middle schooler forced to participate in a children's athletic meet. The only one of the bunch with any real energy would be Amane, thrusting her fist toward the heavens from her position on the mound. As for me, without the beginning of a clue as to what's about to take place here, I'm staring absent-mindedly up at the sky. And how are you doing today, everybody? Hey, Amane.
ああなんじゃい俺
Why are you so ridiculously fired up?
うちの子たちってなんでかみんなインドア派っていうか体を動かすのが嫌いな子が多くてねこうしてから元気でテンション上げていかないとなかなかやる気出さないのよなんだ貴様らどいつもこいつも青秒弾みてえな顔しやがって気合を入れろジジイのピーの方がまだ気合が入っているこの腐れピーども
Well, seems like we've got someone exploding with a weird sort of drill sergeant energy, at least.
ちょっと待っててねマキナちょっとこっちおいで
Amane seizes Makina's head from above like a baseball and forcibly carries her off into the shadows.
マキナ元気なのはいいけど言葉遣い気をつけようねっていつも言ってるよねわかりましたかダメって言っちゃダメだぞ
Amane's voice somehow manages to be both sickly sweet and ice cold. It's enough to send shivers down my spine. Makina's bitter, heart-rending screams don't help either. I think Amane is trying to maintain a relatively kind tone of voice, but she's actually more frightening as a result. It crosses my mind that this could very well be described as bullying. But considering the current climate of hypersensitivity towards such matters, I'll refrain from voicing any hasty conclusions.
どうでもいいけどやるならさっさと始めましょうよ時間なくなるわよ
That's fine by me, but what exactly is it that we're doing?
いつものスポーツでしょバカバカしいどうして私がこんなことに付き合わなければいけないのかしら
Sports? I was hoping for more specific details, but playing sports in gym class hardly seems ridiculous. More like completely commonplace.
それは私からご説明しましょう
Before that, I've got an unrelated question, if that's alright.
はいどうぞ
Why are you the only one in a maid uniform?
はい
Don't give me that totally nonplussed look. For a second, you almost convinced me that I'm the strange one here.
あ、この服ですか？よくご覧になれば一目瞭然かと存じますが、ご覧の通り、これは体操用のメイド服で。
Sorry. Let's move on. Shouldn't have asked. My mistake. The strangest thing here wasn't her clothes. It was me expecting anything resembling common sense from a student at this school. Okay, so what exactly does sports involve here?
ですね、なんと言いますか、種目の名前はないんですよ。キックベースのような、サッカーのような、ソフトボールのような、ドッジボールのような、それらすべての要素を加味した新ジャンルとでも言いますか。
What kind of extreme sport is this? All I got out of your description is that there's probably a ball involved.
はい、使用するのはバレーのボールです。
Sachi hands me a large round ball she'd been holding on to.
このボールをあそこのピッチャーマウンドから投げまして、バッターボックスに立った打者が手にしたバットでそれを打ちます。
They hit a volleyball with a bat?
はい。打球が内野に転がったら、打者は一塁へ向かって走ります。守備側は打球をキャッチして走者に向かって思いっきりボールを投げつけます。それが走者に当たったらアウトです。3アウトでチェンジです。
What if someone catches the ball on the fly?
それもアウトです。その辺は野球に近いかもしれないですね。
When and why did this strange game come into fashion?
別に流行ってるわけじゃないわよ。ただうちの学校って今まで学生が5人しかいなかったから、何をやるにしても人数が足りなかったのよ。それにソフトボールをやりたいとか、ドッジボールがいいとか、いろいろと意見が分かれまして。
So you ended up just doing them all at once? Was this your doing, Sakaki?
そうやって何でもかんでも私のせいにしないでほしいわね。もう確かに言い出したのは私だけれど。
Then don't complain when I blame you.
いつまでたっても意見の一致が見られないから、だったら全部やればいいと言っただけよ。別に全てをいっぺんにやれと言った覚えはないわ。それよりもルールが理解できたのならさっさと始めてほしいのだけれど。
What about Mane and Makina?
いるわよ、ここに。
引っこ抜けかと思ったのよさ。
What exactly?
首とか魂とか。
Amane?
何よ、教育でしょ。この子ってば注意してあげないとどんどん汚い言葉を覚えてバンバン使いたがるんだから。
Are you her mother or what? And so, after 15 minutes of wasted time, with Amane's second shot of, "All right, let's do this," our bewildering match of mystery extreme sports begins. Through the impartial results of rock, paper, scissors matches, the teams are divided as follows. Bear team, pitcher Suo Amane, catcher Sakaki Yumiko, fielder Irisu Makina. Rabbit team, pitcher Kazami Yuji, catcher Kumine Sachi, fielder Matsushima Michiru. Our rabbit team ends up being first to bat. The leadoff batter dons a softball helmet, grabs a colorful metal bat, and takes her place in the batter's box.
よーし、かかってきなさい。
With a grating, high-pitched shout, Michiru thrusts her bat out to point at the pitcher's mound, where Amane is settling into her stance with the volleyball in hand. What's this? Considering how apathetic she was, Michiru's gotten surprisingly into it now that the game has started.
ええ、みちる様は何と言いますか。とりあえず何でも嫌ってみて、何にでも面倒くさがってみるところから始める人なんですけど、いざ始まってしまえば一番ムキになる方ですから。
I see. but I'm willing to bet she's also the first one to get bored.
ご明察です。
Unaware of the critical analysis she's receiving from her teammates, Michiru takes a few vigorous practice swings, then glares up at Amane.
前回の借り今日こそ返してあげるわ。あー、なんだっけ、おめえ挽回ちょっと言い間違えただけでしょ。人の小さなミスをそうやっていつまでもネチネチと、もう。
Watching Michiru stamp her feet in frustration in the batter's box, I whisper to Sachi, who's sitting next to me on the bench. So, what happened last time?
はい、前回の授業でみちる様は天音さんから1点も取ることができなかったんです。それでまあ試合終了後に大きな声で「このおめえはいつか挽回するから覚えていなさい」と。
Ah. Disgrace tends to be something you want to repay, not regain. I guess the words are kind of similar. Michiru must have gotten all excited and shouted out a garbled sentence before she even knew what she was saying. Just a thought here. Might Michiru be something of an idiot?
私の口からは何とも申し上げにくいです。
そこ聞こえてるわよ。ごちゃごちゃうるさい。
Yeah, sorry. Didn't intend to distract you. We'll keep quiet, so please regain as much disgrace as you like.
だからおめえは返上するもので挽回するものじゃないのよ。ラッキー。
As Michiru screeches like a drugged monkey and brandishes her bat overhead, Amane's first pitch sails over the plate.
ストライク。
こーらずるいわよ。なんもずるないわ。試合はもう始まってんねん。屈辱だ。
Receiving the return throw from Sakaki, Amane carefully finds her foothold on the pitcher's mound, a fearless smile on her face.
ほら第2球行くわよ。来い。
With that intense shout, Michiru takes firm hold of her bat and fixedly watches Amane's pitching motion. Looking closely, Michiru's got the position of her hands on the bat reversed, but if I mention that now, I get the feeling her only response would be another shut it. Guess I'll just watch over her gallant battle with silent respect. Amane twists her long limbs into a sidearm motion, and the volleyball soars toward the squatting Sakaki's hands at an ideal velocity and angle. With an explosion of energy, Michiru swings her bat at full force, but tragically, she cuts through empty air a good 10 centimeters above the top of the ball, her blonde twintail swinging aimlessly behind her.
2ストライク。
Michiru slams her bat on home plate in a towering rage.
あと1球よ、みちるちゃん。ちゃんって言うな。子供扱いしないでよ。次こそは打つ。この日のために編み出した伝説の打法が。
Hey, Michiru,
何よ。
you've got your hands wrong.
はあ？
You're batting right, so your right hand should be on top. You've got it backward.
知ってるわよ。わざとよ。どう持つのよ。
You're obviously clueless. Hold it with your right fist higher on the bat, your left fist below.
そういうことはもっと早く言いなさいよ。なんなのよもう。ねえ、続けていいの？いいわよ。いつでも来なさいよ。もう少し待ちなさいよ。どっちなの？来い！
As Michiru bears her fighting spirit, Amane's face briefly suggests a dubious, "Are you sure about that?" But she's not the type to think too hard about this sort of thing. Her expression soon gives way to a smirking grin.
じゃあ、全力で行くよ。
Forcefully swinging the ball up in her right hand, Amane takes a step forward on the mound, throwing the movement of her entire body into the pitch. The ball flies out of Amane's hand, whistling through the air directly at its target, which is Michiru.
みちる様危ない想定通りよ
Michiru, anticipating the beanball, pulls back half a step with her pivot leg and swings her bat in a wide arc.
くらえ伝説のピッチャー返し
Michiru's vigorous stroke of the bat catches the ball beautifully in the sweet spot, sending it flying back toward Amane on the mound.
あれは伝説のピッチャー返しです
Well, that's what she screamed, so I would assume so. Exactly where and how this thing became a legend is a question for another day. The ball rushes straight back toward Amane, who's still in an awkward position from releasing her pitch. That thing's gonna hit her! Or so I thought for a split second. Amane nimbly recovers and takes a firm stance as the ball approaches her.
なの必殺ピッチャー返し返し
Turning to the side, she swings back with her left elbow and unleashes a firm right-handed fist stab in model karate form. With a resounding thud, the ball is sent flying back toward where Michiru stands in the batter's box.
ぬぬ己こさくなヒギピッチャー返し返し返し
Michiru fires it right back.
無駄無駄ピッチャー返し返し返し返し
のピッチャー返し返し返し返し返しのりゃーピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し
Right off the bat, and we already find ourselves in a deadlock. Or rather, what the hell is with this development? I'm sort of reminded of those martial arts matches where both fighters run to the center of the ring at the first gong, stop dead, and just start bashing away at each other, but where do things go from here? Are they planning to repeat pitcher paybacks until they just run out of steam? I can't read the next move. A strange game. There's no apparent path to victory for either side.
ピッチャー投げし
Hey, Sachi,
はい何でしょう
what exactly is a pitcher pack?
さあおそらくですけどマキちゃんは舌が短いのでピッチャー返しと言おうとしてセリフを噛んだだけかと
I see.
ピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し返し
なんとピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し
Sparks to continue to fly as the battle to the death between mound and batter's box continues along its repetitive course. But, I mean, what exactly are they getting all worked up over? It's too damn hot for this. But I suppose women have their own battles that must be fought to the bitter end. This is clearly a contest between two truly indomitable spirits. By the way, Sachi,
はい何でしょう
just how long is this futile exchange going to continue?
さあおそらくはどちらかが諦めるか飽きるかするまでだと思いますけど
Truly a thrilling edge-of-your-seat battle of the wills. Mind if I use this opportunity to go buy a drink?
あ私が買ってきましょうか
No. I think I'll get it myself this time. At my words, Sachi skewers me with a searching glare.
まさか榊さんみたいにジュースを買いに行くって言ってそのまま帰ってこないつもりじゃないですよねダメですよ
As the thought, damn, she saw right through me, runs through my head. I make eye contact with Sakaki, who's still crouched behind the plate.
何なのこっちを見ないでくれる
So, there was a previous offender, eh?
うるさいわねこんなの時間の浪費だわ
Well, can't argue with that. So we resign ourselves to watch over their battle to the end, with the calm gazes of the elderly watching their overly energetic grandchildren skip rope with all their might. But just as I'm beginning to think that this fiery clash of pride between Michiru and Amane might truly never end, the conclusion arrives in an unexpected form.
ピッチャー返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返し返しピッチャー返し返し返し返し
Hey, Sachi.
はい、なんでしょう。
What does that ga just now signify?
さあ、おそらくですけれど、あまねさんが足を滑らせて足首をくじいた音ではないでしょうか。
I see. Wait, should that be my reaction here? So, isn't that kind of bad?
やばいですか？
Sachi stares blankly at me back for a moment. After a beat, her eyes widen and her mouth springs open.
いえ、やばいですよ。
As we hurriedly jump off the bench, Makina is already rushing up to Amane, who's currently writhing on the mound.
死ぬなうわいたたたた
Although it might look like a slapstick comedy scene if you squint, the atmosphere is actually pretty tense, until a burst of out-of-place laughter breaks it.
それ見たことか
Michiru points toward the mound with her right hand, her left hand resting on her hip, her proud face the image of woman triumphant.
この私にこの私に勝負を挑もうなんて10年早いわよ
Should you really be striking a victory pose right now? You're completely burned out yourself.
うさよねこの程度なんてことダメごめんクラクラするサチ酸素持ってきて
Her faint voice abruptly failing her altogether, Michiru's body begins to shake violently. She collapses to her knees on the spot with a thump.
倒れたよチルチルも死んだよオーマイガーなんてこったどうして私の好きになる人はみんな死んじゃうのよさ
死んでないからちょっと立ちくらみが
Michiru scatters sparkling vomit onto the ground with a sickening gurgle. Would this be the so-called double KO? So, Sachi, in this case, can we declare the one who stands up inside the 10 count the winner?
いえ、もうそういった場合じゃないと思います。すみません、風見さん。私はみちる様の様子を見ますので、あまねさんの方お願いできますか？
Roger.
閉じた
あまね大丈夫今なんかグキーって曲がっちゃいけない方に足が曲がってたよね
Probably shouldn't try to stand. If the bone's broken, the pressure might make it break the skin.
怖いこと言わないでよ
Look, just stay put. Let me see your foot. Amane, supported by our hands, slowly shifts to a sitting position on the mound. I take her right leg in my hand and lift it up to take a look. It's not any worse than I'd expected. Fortunately, there doesn't seem to be a fracture, but there is red swelling beginning around the joint. Doesn't seem to be broken, but a sprain? Well, if we're unlucky, might be a partial fracture.
捻挫か久しぶり私さ身長の割に足のサイズが小さいから昔からよく転ぶのよね
Either way, is the infirmary for you? Can you stand?
なんとか
Don't put weight on your right foot. Just get yourself onto my back. Don't give me that. It's not so bad right now because you're pumped full of adrenaline from the shock. But if you overdo it, you'll be crying later. Hurry up and get on.
優しい。どうしたの急に。
I'm not gonna play along with your jokes right now. You're hurt. Stop wasting time and do what I tell you. Amane softly leans her body against my back and grabs the shoulders of my gym uniform somewhat hesitantly. You need a better grip than that. Wrap your arms around. Get a hold of my neck.
わかったわよ。こう？
As instructed, Amane wraps her arms around my neck, pushing her breasts firmly against my back. Normally, I'd be throwing out a joke or two at this point, but this isn't the time. Sachi! I'm taking her to the infirmary. How's Michiru?
はい。みちる様は今酸素吸入中です。5分程度で回復すると思われます。
Michiru lies flat on the ground, limp as a beach tuna. Sachi's holding a portable can of oxygen to her mouth as we speak. I'm leaving command of the field to you. Adjust your tactics as the situation demands. Can you handle it, class representative?
はい。小峰幸いただきます。
For some reason, maybe instinctively reacting to my tone, Sachi raises a hand in salute toward me. All right, here we go, Amane.
ごめん。
Not a problem. This isn't something you need to apologize for. I thought about that response, but ultimately decided against it. The wounded tend to grow timid toward those around them. Better to avoid wording that might make her think of herself as baggage burdening others. Don't want to increase her anxiety. I keep up a flow of communication, standard procedure to ensure the wounded doesn't faint out of pain. Where's the infirmary? Amane, do you know?
その先を右。突き当たりまで行ったら左に行くと保健室があるよ。
We'll be there soon. Try to endure it for the moment.
大げさだな。たかが捻挫だよ。
Don't make light of leg injuries. Soldiers get abandoned when they can't walk.
へえって。いや、まあ、そっか。そうだよね。怪我した子から死んでいくんだよね。
Don't worry. Japan won't desert you, and I won't leave you to die either.
ごめんね。私、重いでしょ。
Not particularly. 5 bags of rice or so at most.
ちょっと、なんで私の体重知ってるのよ。
I'm used to carrying around heavy luggage on my back. I can estimate weight from the feeling on my shoulders.
あのさ、おぶってもらっておいてこんなこと言うのもあれなんだけど、この場合ね、普通は全然重くないよとかさ、なんかこう女の子に対して気を使ったりするもんなんじゃないのかな。
You're lighter than I expected. Probably only looked heavy from your height and that oversized chest. You've got long legs too. That must have thrown me off.
足が長いって褒めてくれてるのは嬉しいけど、なんか複雑。ちなみに私の体重ってどれぐらいだと予想してた？
My impression was that you'd be comfortably above 60 kilos.
そういうことを言わないの。
As she speaks, Amane sharply tightens her arms to a chokehold around my neck. Look, stop thrashing around. You'll be the one crying if I drop you. I come to a brief halt on the spot and lift Amane's body, which had been sliding down my back, up more firmly around my shoulders.
そっか、今ならユージ君、両手が塞がってるよね。
What are you planning, woman? In the next moment, Amane gently closes her eyes. Still clinging tightly to my neck, she brings her lips close. Hey! I'd taken immediate evasive action in response to her suspicious movements, but Amane's lips nonetheless pressed against my cheek.
ちぇ、避けられちゃったか。
What the hell is wrong with this woman? I've got half a mind to drop her on the hallway floor, but we are dealing with an injured party here. I turned my head to the side to stare into Amane's face, finding her blushing in apparent embarrassment. I thought I met her for the first time at the school, but maybe...
何よ、人の顔じっと見て。
It's nothing. No matter how long or how carefully I study Amane's features, nothing comes to mind. I was entertaining the possibility she might have been some childhood friend I'd parted from in tears or what have you, but I'm pretty well convinced that this isn't the case. Which would leave... Do I look like the lover you were tragically separated from in your previous incarnation? Is that it?
何それ、人を電波扱いしないでよ。っていうか、この学園でそういうこと言わないの。シャレにならないから。
Pouting her lips, Amane knocks a fist against my head with a solid thunk. What are you, anyway?
スオアマネ。
Yes, my short-term memory is perfectly fine, thanks. Every time Amane speaks, her soft breaths strike my ear. Is it just my imagination? Or has her body temperature slowly been rising while I've had her on my back? If she suffered a partial fracture on that ankle, it might be that her body's beginning to generate a fever. Better get a move on. Again lifting Amane further up on my back, I hurry to the infirmary. Doc, emergency case. Get a move on.
いや、ドクって。
Still carrying Amane, I push my way forcefully into the room and shout for attention. But there's no one here whatsoever, much less a doctor. Why isn't anyone here? Everyone take a break at once?
うちには保健の先生っていないのよ。とりあえずベッドの上で下ろして、あとは自分でやるから。
There's no doctor. You mean they haven't hired anyone at all to staff this room?
そういうこと。
For the time being, I lower Amane into a nearby bed.
保健の先生が来るって話は前からあるんだけど、なかなかいい人が見つからないみたいでね。薬とかは業者の人が来てたまに入れ替えてるみたいなんだけど。
Well, fine. I'll take care of the treatment.
できるの？
I learned first aid at my previous school. I can handle something like this at least. I kneel in front of Amane's leg, untie and remove her athletic shoe, then take her red, swollen right ankle in my hand. I'm going to move it. Tell me if it hurts. Her ankle's slender, but compared to her uninjured left foot, it's clearly inflamed pretty badly. I bend Amane's ankle to various angles, carefully searching for the location of her injury. It's not fractured after all, but I think the ligament might have been stretched, or the joint capsule ruptured. Taking a roll of medical tape from the infirmary's first aid kit, I loosely wrap it around Amane's ankle, restricting the range the joint can move. Then retrieve ice from the freezer, stuff it into a bag, and press it over the injury through a towel, relieving the heat of the inflammation.
ありがとう。ずいぶん楽になったわ。手慣れてるのね。
Well, just a bit. I'm accustomed to treating sprains and burns at least. When I was a kid, I was getting hit pretty much every day, and I still get my fair share of injuries even now.
やっぱり優しいね、ユージくん。
Spare me. How exactly am I a nice guy? I just treated an injury. Anybody would do that much.
そうやって冷たい態度を取るのは、私に優しいやつだって勘違いされると、甘えられて鬱陶しいから？
To be honest, Amane's words are pretty close to the bullseye. When human beings find kindness, they naturally take advantage of it. Before they realize it, they've grown dependent on that kindness. They lose their ability to function without it. If I disappeared, what would you do with yourself? My master spoke those words to me when I was still a child.
正直ね、保健室に着いた時点で、じゃあ俺は行くからって言われるのを覚悟してたんだけど、ユージくん、何も言わずに治療してくれたじゃない？驚いちゃった。
Alright then, I'll be going. As I raise my right hand in farewell, Amane grabs my clothes firmly to prevent my retreat.
ちょっと、怪我をしてナーバスになっている女の子を一人にする気？もう少し一緒にいなさい。
Am I the only one who thinks she should be slightly more nervous about being alone with a teenage male in this room? Which has a bed? When her leg is injured to the point that she can't walk? What do you want from me? If you have something to say, then spit it out already.
じゃあはっきり言うけどねえ私の彼氏になってよ
What?
聞こえなかったかなもう一度言おうか
Why are you saying this?
君のことが好きだから
Since when?
初めて会った時からずっと一目惚れってやつかな なんか冷たい反応私の言ってることを信じてないでしょ
Then let me ask, what part of me did you fall in love with?
そうねなんかダメ男っぽいところ私さこいつ私がいなかったらどうやって生きていくんだろうみたいなそういう男に弱いみたい
I see. Can't say I have a problem with reliable women myself.
マジでそれって好都合じゃないどうするじゃあ付き合っちゃおうか
What's this girl think she's grinning about? Momentarily speechless with bemusement, I hold my right palm to my forehead and run it up through my hair. Look, is teasing me that much fun?
そういう言われ方は心外なんだけどじゃあさ彼氏がダメならお姉ちゃんになってあげ
What?
優しくて綺麗なお姉さん欲しくない
I regret to inform you that we're not hiring big sisters at the present time.
いつ募集するの
We anticipate no vacancies until doomsday.
なんだよそれ
That's my line, idiot. Shifting my grip on the ice pack, I give Amane a slap on the ankle.
もう女の子いじめて楽しい
Let's see. If you make it a yes or no question, then yes. I think I'd be safely on the enjoy bullying girls side.
サディストかでも大丈夫私ってこう見えてもド M だから
Just what do you want from me exactly?
ねえどうしてもダメなのなんか女としての自信なくすな
I'm not trying to reject you, but don't you think you're rushing things here?
時期尚早という言葉を使う人はきっと10年経っても同じことを言うよね
We're not talking about politics here.
だから彼女は諦めてお姉ちゃんになるって言ってるじゃないね
Starting off by asking for the sky, then dragging out concessions as a compromise in the negotiations? You really do think you're a politician.
そろそろ私も傷つくぞ
I drop my shoulders in an exaggerated gesture and heave a heavy sigh. I'm sure this girl intends to continue this aggressive pursuit until I tell her what she wants to hear. It would be a serious pain in the ass if she tried to push me any harder than this. As a point of compromise, this is probably right at the limits of my tolerance. Yeah, I got it. If you want to play the big sister that badly, I'll go along with it. If there was a mirror in front of me as I speak these words, I'd be staring into the face of a man with the word reluctant stamped on his forehead. Might this have been a hasty decision? Indifferent to my shame and regret, Amane beams happily and drops her hand on top of my head with a gentle thump in grand big sister style.
ならばよろしいこれからはお姉ちゃんって呼ぶんだぞ
Don't think this means you can pet my head whenever you feel like. Although I don't go so far as to push Amane's hand away, I can't say this is an especially pleasant feeling. Dutiful and clever dogs, as a rule, don't wag their tails when someone other than their master pats their heads. Hey everyone, J Square John Jeremy here. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to click on subscribe and the bell icon to ensure you're kept up to date on the channel. Until next time, So long, and take care.